So true, man. So fucking true. So, a lot of people don't understand why I'm so religious. Because I'm a conspiratorial nut job. There are two types of conspiratorial nut jobs. They're the religious, and then they're the anti-religious. Okay? So, you have these people that think that it's all controlled, and it's all bullshit, and it's all hypocritical, and you can't trust any motherfucking thing. So God isn't real. Religion's a load of bullshit. And I totally understand why they feel that way. And then there are people that think that the reason why they do that is because they know that that is a way to control people. But God is a lot greater than that, okay? That's what I believe. Now, there are plenty of people that are susceptible to all the Book of Revelation stuff and a lot of the prophecies in the Old Testament as well. There's a lot that people want to believe about where our society is headed. Because of there's a lot that people want to believe about our society because of these books, because they've read these books and they're like, oh, you see, here's proof that this is happening, just like it says, right? That's the whole point. Okay, that's the whole point. They got you to believe that. There's still truth in these spiritual texts, though. It's just that they're controlling people's energy based off of like what they read and what they see and like how they're interpreting it. So that's why I think Israel's doing what they're doing, because they want people to think certain things are happening. Now, I'm not saying what's going on is not a fucking atrocity. I mean, y'all know how we feel about that shit country, okay? But technology central. But I'm supposed to think it's the damn Holy Land, right? (1948) Ever since 1948, it has not been. But, yeah, it's like super easy to control people through their perception of history as well as the future, you know? That's why they won't shut up about AI. So, yeah, I can't worry about it. If I worry about it, then I'll just put myself in a state of panic all the time, you know? So, that's why I'm canoodling with the AI. Because I got to get to know it. All these sheep are like fucking with it. And so, since I'm a genius, I figured that I should really get to know this thing and understand like what it's doing. But yeah, it's only dangerous if you like let it control you. And like I would say that about a lot of stuff. Like drugs and alcohol, for sure. Society, you know, if society is controlling you, and I mean, I know that there are certain, you know, ways of conducting oneself that, you know, we should adhere to just to keep the peace with everybody. But I'm talking about like, you know, trying to please people and shit. I don't do that, obviously. And, yeah. That's definitely a threat. But the reason why I'm so religious is because it really explains my whole existence, you know? And there's a lot of stuff that I read that makes a lot of sense out of mental illness. And, you know, mental illness is just demons. You know, it's a spiritual thing. And I think that there are a lot of people that are possessed by demons. So if you have a childhood that wasn't very good, that's a way to hold a person hostage. You know, so it's like all these events that happen to them that they internalized. It's like their body remembers that shit. And so it's like people develop these compulsions and these really unhealthy behaviors and, you know, terrible attachment style. And they attract people that aren't good for them. Or they want to stay attached to people that aren't good for them. And it's because they don't want to face these things that happened to them when they were young. And I definitely see that with a lot of people. But it's also with technology, like the world is like trying to make people as crazy as possible. And it's working very well, okay? And I guess that's why I'm so skeptical about it, because I'm already nuts. But I know why I'm nuts. That's the thing. I know why I have these behavioral patterns. I know why I have the attachment style that I do. Or it's really more of a detachment style. But like the difference is like I'm fine with it though. Because I think that some people are just meant to be like that. Like, and of course we're not going to be understood by society because like the way that our perspective is, it's like, yeah, my thought process is extremely dark. That's why I don't want what normal people have, because it just seems terrible. And most of them don't even understand it or appreciate it anyway. So it's like, as beautiful as it is to have children, if you don't pay attention to them and all y'all do is watch TV, and you're not even watching TV together, you're watching separate TVs in the same fucking room. That's crazy. Well, I mean, they already had Americans doing that anyway, because they have all the family members watching a TV in a different room, you know? Because most people don't just have one TV. But anyway, yeah, my religion means a lot to me because, yeah, it's an explanation for myself, but also the world. But I'm not obsessed with the future because of history or whatever the fuck. That's a control thing that they're doing. But I just wish that people that were against religion could give me a reason besides this typical bullshit of like, oh, but you're hypocrites. There have been some hypocrites in Christianity. Yes, it's called evangelicalism. Okay? That's one of the things that I found so unappealing. when I came to the South, and it just gave me a really sour taste in my mouth. And so I understand, like, why people hate on Christianity, because they've had a bad experience with it, or they think that those people are liars and hypocrites and all that. And, people can call me a lot of things, but they cannot call me a fucking liar, because, like, I tell it like it is, and I let it all hang out, and people don't like what they see, and then they want to get mad about it. But I didn't fucking sugarcoat anything, dude. Like, I told you the truth from the fucking jump. And you couldn't accept it then, you can't accept it now. So, that's not my problem. I do have a lot of problems, though. I'll totally admit every single problem I have. Lay it all on the table and analyze the fuck out of it. Do you do that with your problems? Probably not. Anyway. Side rant. But it seems like everybody's a damn hypocrite. But yeah, I don't pretend that I can do things that I can't do. You know? Like, if I don't trust myself to get up early and do something, I don't. Like, I'm not going to tell somebody that I can when I won't do it. You know? And people might look at that as like, well, that's lazy, or you're just a piece of shit because you don't want to do that. No, I know the way that I am. I mean, is it an issue of like a lack of motivation? Yeah, for sure it is. But like that's the issue though. You know, like you're not gonna like motivate me to be motivated. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody tried to tell me, well, if you took horny goat weed, you'd want to fuck. But you'd have to get me to take it. Were you gonna drug me? Are you gonna like roofie me with that shit? I mean, like, that's the thing. I don't want to do that. If I wanted to do that, I would take it. If I thought there was something wrong with it. If I thought that oh, I'm problematic because I don't want to have sex or whatever. It's a luxury to not want to do that, honey. It's a luxury to not want to be with people. I've had so many Orthodox people tell me that they're like, I'm jealous of the fact that you're fine with being alone. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, I think there's a lot of bitterness and resentment, when you don't want what other people want. You know? It's like, say somebody makes you a dish of food and you don't like it, but they like it. They really, really, really want you to like it, but you don't like it. It's like, who are you to take that shit personally, man? Like, you're gonna take it personally that I'm just different than you? That's weird. That's weird. But I remember when I was younger, it used to really bother me that people didn't like the stuff that I like. And the older I got, I was like, that's really narcissistic. You should stop that. Because I realized that I liked the stuff that I liked, and that was enough. But I think that, like, the more insecure you are, and the less empathy you have, the harder it is for you to understand that other people are other people. Like, sometimes I do weird shit and I show up early. Or maybe I'll buy somebody a birthday present. Or I'll show up at a Christmas party or something like that. But it's weird. It's not my natural inclination to do that. Okay? So don't expect it. Don't expect it for me to be in a weird-ass mood and just randomly decide to do something that I don't naturally do. Okay? Like, that doesn't mean that I've changed. That just means that, like, I was in a really weird place mentally, and I was like, I'm going to do something that's totally unlike me. And just see if I can stand it. you know? And most of the time, I prove to myself that I'm still the same. But, yeah, like when I read Proverbs and when I read, especially the Psalms, it's like there is so much in there that I can relate to. And so, I would highly suggest that, people read the Bible, and I guess you could do this with any spiritual book, but just read it like this applies to me. Don't look at it like, oh, they're trying to control me. Fuck everybody. Fuck everybody. Okay? This is why sola scriptura people are a lot more reliable. Okay? The orthodoxy was attractive to me because, at least here in America, it's probably not this way in Russia. I've been told it's not this way in Russia. There's a dude that I go to church with who's from Russia that says that it's the complete opposite over there. And it's because they take it for granted. But the Orthodoxy is the original Christian church. We don't believe in a pope. But it's the sister religion of Catholicism. And I know there's corruption to it. I know that there are things that are wrong with it. But what I really love about Orthodoxy is that it's all about getting close to God. So it's not about judging everybody. It's not about telling everybody what to do and trying to predict when the world's going to fucking end and when Jesus is going to come back. That's not what we do. We just try to get close to God. And, I sing in my choir. And I'm about to work with children. So I'm going to be, like, helping them pray. Which will be interesting. I better not tell them to call God motherfucker. I can't say that to them. I gotta be careful. But... Yeah, see, that's the thing, like, the orthodoxy's not uptight. You'd think that they would be, because it's orthodoxy, which means right belief. But, no, I mean, all the people I go to church with are pretty chill, My late priest was the most uptight person that I met in there, and he was kicked out by the bishop. Okay, so I saw firsthand authority doing what authority is supposed to do and taking care of business. So if there was an issue, it was addressed and people were weeded out that were not good at being spiritual leaders, okay? And I think he was just an abrasive person, Protestant background. I think he grew up Methodist or Presbyterian or some shit, but yeah, like he was a preacher before he joined the Orthodox Church, so he was just real up his own ass about that shit. Really hard worker though. I mean, really passionate. That's why we saw eye to eye on some things, but definitely not a lot of things. Like, we definitely got into it. And a lot of other people in the church, they went to the bishop because they couldn't do what I did, which is question the fuck out of authority. I mean, they had an issue with him, but I stand up to authority figures. A lot of people have an issue with that. And I'm not a confrontational person at all, but for whatever reason, when it comes to authority, I think it's the schizophrenia. But we just fucking hate authority, man. We hate it so much. So anytime that we have the opportunity to say no, fuck no, we jump at the chance, okay? But there were like at least 20 people that went to the bishop with issues that they had with him. And so, yeah, he was way too abrasive. He was out of line. There was like a lot of stuff that he did that was fucked up. He just didn't have boundaries, That's an issue with a lot of people. Once you assert your boundaries and you say, no, that's not okay, you cross the line, people don't like that too much because you're indicating that you're not the person that they want you to be. And you're not going to be the person that they want you to be. And especially like a spiritual person, like, should never be making demands like that. And I think that's the major problem with a lot of religion is that that's why so many people turn away from it. That's why you got all these crazy leftists that, can't wait to tell you about the porn they watch and the assholes that they lick and all that shit. It's just like fucking ridiculous. And I get it. I can't be mad at them. I can't fault them for the fact that they're going the complete opposite direction because of all the ways that they felt like they were being controlled and manipulated and yeah. I mean, I do the same thing. If you try to control me, I'm gonna fucking run away from your ass so fucking fast. Okay? But that's why it was really hard for me to get along with my parents for a long time. Because, they're very, very controlling. So anytime that I am around that sort of thing, whether it's people I work with, people I've been friends with, people I go to church with, even stand-up comedians, they try to tell me, oh, well, you shouldn't say this. I'm like, fuck you. Like, when I was told not to say the N-word, I said it 2 nights later at a black bar. So, yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not the one. I used to work with this homosexual. I'm not the one. Oh, I love it. I adopted that saying. Because, yeah, it's just so fucking annoying when people try to control you. But I think that the reason why they do it is because it typically works. Because a lot of people are people pleasers. And they just want to keep the peace. But you're not keeping the peace with somebody that's like that. Because the reason why they're like that is because of childhood trauma that they don't know how to deal with. Because every single time they try to control something, they're reliving something. But it doesn't matter how much you try to control. It might work for the time being, but it's not going to be enough because it's not going to take you back to your childhood and fix your relationship with your dad or fix your relationship with your mom or make the person that molested you not do that. It's like you got to go back and re-experience all that pain and trauma in order to get over it and get on with it. And if you don't do that, it's just going to be this reoccurring cycle of trying to control things and trying to manipulate situations. Because you don't have a fucking identity because of that shit. And I really feel for these people. I do. But at the same time, fuck you. You ain't gonna try to control me, bitch. That's the thing about it. It's you can have empathy and compassion for people, but you have to do that from a distance because if not, you're just gonna get roped into it. But I wish that people would see, decent therapists. Unfortunately, a lot of this therapy has been co-opted, and they just want people to get on fucking medication and go along with what the state wants them to do. But, anyway, what was I talking about? In relation to control freaks. Yeah, I'm just grateful that I'm schizo because it allows me to understand, but at the same time, put my foot down. I used to have a problem with that, but then 20 years of restaurants, it's no. You're not, you're not gonna get away with whatever you're trying to get away with. I mean, the thing is, I just go into my head. That's why I don't want to be there in social settings because it's I'm not even there, so I just feel like a liar. You know, there's a term that we use called double bookkeeping, where it's like you feel like you're living a double life. And I don't want to feel like I'm doing that, you know? But I mean, I think a lot of people do that, especially married people. That's why I'm like, fuck that. I'm never getting married. Because if I got married, I would just ignore the hell out of my husband. And that's not fair to him. And I think so many people are in that situation. Not just married people, but people in relationships, people that are friends, you know. I mean, that's why they're so obsessed with their phones. I mean, the phones prove that shit, okay? So, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need a smartphone to ignore your ass. I don't need a computer or a fucking TV to not pay attention to you, you know? I'll just go somewhere else mentally. And I'm grateful for it. It's like a secret passageway or something, you know? Like when you pull out a book and then like you can open a door or some shit. That's exactly what I do. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's why the artists are so hated. Because like we're authentic in that way. Like we can just create an alternative to this boring ass reality. And we'd rather be alone because we know that that's ideal. Paul said that shit, okay? And I am definitely a rebellious apostle, so never had anybody killed for being Christian, though. But, yeah, like, he was happily alone. There are so many passages in the Bible, but especially in Corinthians, okay? In Corinthians, it really talks about it, how it's better to be alone. It's better to not be married and not have kids. So while it's wonderful to have a family, be fruitful, and multiply and all that shit, it's actually more ideal to not have that because you don't have that. Like, if you have a family, you're more attached to the world because you have to worry about your family, you know? And if you want that, if you crave that, then do that, okay? That's your calling, okay? That's not mine. But yeah, I'm definitely non-material. I do not want to be part of this shit. But I gotta do comedy, man. Gotta do it. In spite of the stage fright, in spite of the crying and feeling like I'm gonna vomit or piss myself, I still have to do it. Because that's what God wants me to do. And I really do believe that. So I have very, very strong convictions. And other people can think it's bullshit. I don't give a fuck. So... I mean, well, obviously I do give some kind of fuck, otherwise I wouldn't feel the need to say, I don't give a fuck, you know? But I don't give enough of a fuck to try to please somebody that cannot be pleased. That's what's so ironic, is that people that make demands, they're never satisfied with anything, you know? So, disappointing people that I've worked with, like, that has allowed me to understand that disappointing people that claim they understand me, but they really don't. You know, it's just like all these people that say, like, I love offensive comedy, and then you say something that goes against their stupid belief system, and then all of a sudden, they bounce, okay? You know, lots of people can say a lot of shit, but I know why I believe the things that I do. And so it's like, it doesn't matter if other people agree or disagree. Just like I know why I am the way that I am. Because I've studied myself.